Good afternoon and welcome to our daily press briefing online and live on EBS. Today is Monday, 25th of January. To begin with, we learned last night of the passing away of Antonio Cardoso and Cunha, the first Portuguese member of the European Commission. On behalf of President von der Leyen and the whole College, I would like to express our condolences and sympathy to the family and friends of Mr. Cardoso and Cunha. He joined the College of Commissioners in 1986, and his name will forever remain associated to Portugal's participation to the European project. He served 2 terms under President Jacques Delors, first as Commissioner for Fisheries and later with a vast portfolio comprising personnel, administration and translation, energy and the Euratom Supply Agency, cooperatives, and the newly created Directorate General for Small Businesses, Distributive Trades and Tourism. Mr. Cardoso and Cunha brought to the Commission a long personal experience in both the private and the public sector. After leaving the Commission, he worked on the organization of the 1998 Lisbon World Exhibition and later became CEO of TAP, the Portuguese carrier airline. And now over to Stéphane for an announcement on vaccines.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. Following AstraZeneca's announcement that there would be a shortfall of its deliveries, Commissioner Kyriakides sent a letter yesterday to the company to request further clarifications. In this letter, the Commissioner stresses the importance of deliveries in line with the schedules laid down in the agreement, and she reiterated that the scaling up of the production capacity has to happen concurrently with the conduct of clinical trials to ensure the availability of the vaccines as quickly as possible. This is really an important premise of the contract. As this is a crucial issue for the Commission and the Member States, this matter will be discussed between Commission, Member States and the company at a steering board meeting which takes place today at 12:30. The Commission expects contractual obligations to be met. This is crucial for the safety of our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stéphane. And let me perhaps add that the President spoke to the CEO of AstraZeneca this morning by phone, Mr. Pascal Soriot, and she made it clear that she expects AstraZeneca to deliver on the contractual arrangements foreseen in the advanced purchasing agreement. She reminded Mr. Soriot that the EU has invested significant amounts in the company upfront, precisely to ensure that production is ramped up even before the conditional market authorization is delivered by the European Medicines Agency. Of course, production issues can appear with a complex vaccine, but we expect the company to find solutions and to exploit all possible flexibilities to deliver swiftly. Nous avons encore un programme chargé pour cet après-midi et nous limiterons donc le rendez-vous de midi d'aujourd'hui à 30 minutes. Justement parce qu'à 12h30, les commissaires Didier Reynders et Ylva Johansson nous rejoindront ici pour une conférence de presse sur une meilleure coordination et des garanties supplémentaires des déplacements à l'intérieur et depuis l'extérieur de l'Union européenne. Après cette conférence de presse, nous vous offrirons encore un briefing technique sur le même sujet. Et finalement, à 14h30, vous aurez encore une fois le commissaire Reynders ici en salle de presse pour vous parler du premier engagement en faveur de la consommation verte, ensemble avec des représentants de l'industrie. Finalement, encore un petit rappel des réunions qui ont lieu de l'autre côté de la rue aujourd'hui. D'abord, le haut représentant Josep Borrell préside aujourd'hui le Conseil des Affaires étrangères, avec un ordre du jour très large. Les vice-présidents exécutifs Frans Timmermans, Valdis Dombrovskis, ainsi que le vice-président Maroš Šefčovič et le commissaire Olivier Várhelyi représentent la Commission lors des différentes sessions de ce Conseil. Les ministres ont notamment eu ce matin un échange avec le ministre des Affaires étrangères japonais sur la vision indo-pacifique du Japon et la sécurité régionale en Asie, ainsi que sur la situation en Russie. Une conférence de presse avec le haut représentant aura lieu dans l'après-midi et je vous invite donc à poser vos questions liées aux affaires extérieures lors de cette conférence de presse. Puis les commissaires Janusz Wojciechowski et Virginius Sienkiewicz représentent aujourd'hui la Commission lors de la réunion virtuelle du Conseil Agriculture et Pêche. La réunion fera le point sur les questions agricoles liées au commerce, ainsi que sur l'état d'avancement des négociations concernant le processus de réforme actuelle de la politique agricole commune. En ce qui concerne la pêche, les ministres discuteront des possibilités de pêche pour 2021 pour les stocks halieutiques partagés avec le Royaume-Uni. Les deux commissaires participeront, comme ils en ont l'habitude, aux conférences de presse actuellement prévues pour 12h50 en ce qui concerne la pêche et 18h30 pour l'agriculture. Et avec ceci, nous sommes prêts pour vos questions et je passe directement la parole à Raph.
Yes, good morning. There's little time, so I will be quick. When Stefan talks about that Kyriakides letter stresses the importance, I also want to know whether there was a legal threat in that letter. And for the conversation between the Commission President and the head of AstraZeneca, can you also tell us what the reaction of AstraZeneca was? Thank you.
Thank you. On the phone call between the President and the CEO, no, I'm not going to go into the details of the conversation. What is extremely important is that the President made very clear what it is that we expect from the company based on the advanced purchasing agreement. And of course, we will follow this through. Stefan.
Thank you very much, Raf. With regard to the letter that was sent by Commissioner Kyriakides to the company, as I said before, the Commissioner stressed the importance of executing the contract, executing the clauses of the contract, and the letter refers to the obligations the company has with regard to the deliveries of the arrangements. So now we will see how these things are taken further in the context of the meeting that we'll have with the company and the member states in the steering board. Thank you.
Okay, we'll continue obviously on the issue of the health situation and vaccine. So please only keep your hand raised if your question relates to this. Yanis, you have a question on this.
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to ask, given that this very bad news was given just last Friday, the session today, is there any reasonable expectation that we can get some positive news from the company that it will be able to do better, or is it mostly a venting session? And I'd like also to ask, like the previous colleague, about whether there exist any legal remedies available to the EU, either to get compensation or to force faster deliveries from the company. Thank you.
Stefan.
Thank you very much. Listen, this news came last week. This is news that was not very much appreciated by the Commission and Member States because we attach a lot of importance to the correct delivery of the different vaccines. Member states have a very important task ahead of them and are already working on the vaccination. This requires the delivery of the vaccines. So on the basis of this announcement, now and the reaction of the Commissioner and also the phone call between the President of the Commission and the company, we are going to take it forward now in the context of the steering board, where for us, the main message is that that is very important to stress the importance of these timely deliveries. What will come out of this meeting, we will see. We will re-evaluate this on the basis of the outcome of the meeting, but this is a very important message for the company that the Commission, also the Member States, I think, will want to pass. As far as the legal issues are concerned, I don't think it's time now to step into legal discussions. Of course, each contract contains clauses, as is the case with all these types of contracts regarding termination and so on. But at this stage, what is important is that we have a discussion with the company, with the Member States, and see how these deliveries, which have to happen, can take place in line with what was agreed in the contract. Thank you.
Tommaso.
Yes, good morning. Tommaso Gallavotti and Kronos Italy. Thank you for the floor. Rapidly, two questions on vaccines. The first one, is given the bad news coming from AstraZeneca, do you confirm the targets of vaccination, which is at least 80% of the vulnerable population and the sanitary staff within the end of March, and 70% of the adult population within the end of the summer? And the second one, if I may, I mean, given that multinational companies usually understand the language of power, are you considering to launch an investigation on possible anti-competitive behavior? Because I think that there are the basis. Some law professor here in Italy said that there are, because they, Pfizer and AstraZeneca announced at the same time delays in the delivery of vaccine. There could be basis for an an inquiry into a possible anti-competitive behavior. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommaso. On your second question, we certainly never comment on such issues here. What is clear is that our focus at this point in time, as Stefan has just rightly confirmed, is to make sure that the company actually delivers the doses as swiftly as possible, because we have a health emergency to deal with. And that is what we are entirely focused on at the moment, making sure that in what is, of course, a complex process, as I described on Friday, we get the best possible and the quickest possible results from our investments in these companies. On your first question, no, of course, we're not changing the objectives. If every time there is an issue that comes up, we change the objective, we lose the one thing which is absolutely crucial in this period and in this process, and it is predictability and clarity for all of the actors involved, be they the member state authorities that are rolling out the vaccination strategies, be it for our industrial partners with whom we have signed agreements, be it for us and our agencies who are contributing to the rollout. So, of course, those objectives are very ambitious, and rightly so. They need to be, because there is a need out there in order to overcome the crisis, and our job altogether is to make sure that we find solutions to the issues as they arise. I pass the floor to Louise.
Hello, and thank you for the question. Two things. I'm wondering if you're planning to send out a readout from the steering board meeting at 12.
Thank you. Louise, we will provide information on the results of the meeting once it is finished, but let's not anticipate. The meeting is about to start, but we will make sure that relevant information is given out. Quentin.
Oui, bonjour Eric, bonjour Stéphane, est-ce que vous m'entendez?
Oui, nous t'entendons, vas-y.
Oui, nous t'entendons, vas-y.
C'est toujours sur cette histoire. Pfizer, si une entreprise ne respecte pas ses obligations contractuelles dans le vaccin, concrètement, qu'est-ce qui peut se passer? C'est-à-dire, est-ce que vous avez demandé une ristourne par rapport au prix des doses? Est-ce que vous pouvez demander, je sais pas moi, de payer des pénalités ou enfin, bref, comment ça marche? Est-ce que tu peux donner des exemples concrets sur si les obligations contractuelles ne sont pas respectées? Merci.
Merci Quentin. Je passe la parole à Stéphane.
Merci Quentin. Mais comme nous avons indiqué avant, nous n'allons pas entrer dans le détail des différentes étapes à suivre dans ce genre de situation. Ce qui est important maintenant, c'est que nous avons une réunion avec AstraZeneca, avec les États membres, pour voir comment on peut assurer la livraison de doses, la livraison qui est nécessaire pour que les États membres puissent faire continuer leur programme de vaccination. Et c'est sur ce point-là que les discussions vont se concentrer maintenant. Et puis, laissez-nous d'abord le temps de réévaluer ce qui se passe à cette réunion, et puis on verra. Mais on ne va pas entrer dans ce genre de discussion, je dirais, juridique concernant tout ce qui pourrait se faire dans quelle situation. On ne va pas entrer dans cette spéculation à ce stade-ci. Merci.
Voilà. Angelo. Angela, pardon, excusez-moi, j'ai mal lu. Angela, sorry.
Okay, good morning. Yeah, my question is on vaccines as well, on the delays. I wanted to know if there is room for a legal action by the European Commission against this company if they don't respect the contracts. As I read it on some newspapers that the EU could start a legal action against them. I wanted to know if this is true and if you are examining it, if you're thinking about considering it for the future. Thank you.
Angela, we have just answered that question, albeit in French, I agree. But the answer remains exactly the same, whatever language we provide the answer in. We are not going to go into further comments on this at this stage. We are focused on having a frank dialogue with the company in order to ensure that it delivers the doses as swiftly as possible. That is what we are focused on at the moment. And we will answer all those questions exactly in the same way if you wish to continue on this issue. Carlo.
Yes, hello, Carlo Martuscelli from Politico Europe. Thank you for taking my question. Unfortunately, it's another one about vaccines. I wanted to know whether the Italian government had been in touch with the Commission on the topic of legal redress, since it's gone on the record saying that they're considering their legal options against both AstraZeneca and Pfizer. And a second question is just about Germany's announcement that it will acquire 200 doses of monoclonal antibodies manufactured in the US. I wanted to know if the Commission was already considering any joint procurement for these medicines beforehand, or if it will decide whether to buy any. And I wanted to know if the Commission considered Germany's bilateral deal at odds at all with its own strategy for joint procurement of medicines. Thank you.
Stefan, question for you.
Thank you very much. On the issue of the Italian government, well, you know that the Commission and the Member States are in close contact with each other in the context of the steering board. This is a body where issues are discussed regarding not only the state of play of negotiations of new contracts with new vaccine companies, but where we also follow the implementation of ongoing contracts, for instance, in the context of Pfizer and also in the context of AstraZeneca. So Commission and Member States follow a joint approach, a common approach, as they've also always done. As far as initiatives are concerned that one or another member state may wish to take, these are of course things that have to be checked with the member states themselves. Do not forget that deliveries happen on the basis of purchase orders, which are concluded between the member state and the company. So member states have the possibility, of course, to take positions that they feel are appropriate in given circumstances. With regards to the different joint procurement processes, you know that joint procurement is a process that we have to help member states to procure all kinds of things, medical equipment and others. If member states are interested in having launching a joint procurement for certain equipment, treatments, or whatever, these are things that can definitely be considered and have already been considered positively in some cases. I remind you, for instance, of the fact that there's joint procurement on needles, syringes, and so on. So if there is such interest by member states to launch additional joint procurements, this will definitely be taken on board. Thank you.
Daniel. So, Daniel, I see that you have problems with your mic at the moment, and you have a question which is, can you say how the AstraZeneca problems have delayed by months or doses the previously expected overall vaccination timeline? Is there a public timeline for completing all vaccinations? Stefan.
Well, I think we have to look at the outcome of the meeting that will take place in the steering board. This is going to be a meeting where we're going to discuss, as we said, the delivery schedule, delivery arrangements, and some base of that meeting that we will see, that the member states will see how this affects or doesn't affect the different vaccination campaigns that are ongoing in the member states. But here as well, I think it's important that we first wait for the outcome of the meeting to re-evaluate our position. Thank you.
David, I'm going very quickly because we only have 5 minutes left, so I'm trying to get a maximum of you on the system. David, short question, please.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Eric. Stefan, I just wonder if you could walk us through what AstraZeneca told the Commission about why, in fact, this is happening. What's the problem in their plant? Apparently, it was also a contractor of theirs, Novacep. And also, does it matter from the Commission's perspective? Is there anything in the contract about where the vaccine that will be delivered to the EU is sourced from? Does the Commission care if it comes from the UK or the US, or is there a provision that says this supply to the EU must come from a factory in the EU? Thanks very much.
Stefan.
Thank you very much, David. David, I don't think we have to go into what are all the different issues that have been raised or not raised by the company. What is important is that the conclusion of the company was that there are issues with the deliveries. And of course, we want this to be solved. As President von der Leyen has also said, important investments have been made in the production capacity of this company. And this is what we are geared towards. I don't think it's now a matter of seeing what are the issues exactly, what has been raised exactly by whom at what time. What we're focused on is now that we reach that we can go ahead with quick deliveries, as was agreed also in the context of this contract with the company. Thank you.
And as I said in my initial statement related to the phone call between the President and Mr. Soriot, we expect the company to exploit all possible flexibilities when it comes to their capacity to deliver the doses as swiftly as possible. I hate to say we will not be able to take all questions, but I continue on the list. Alexandra.
I'm wondering, apart from the legal pressure that I understand you don't want to comment anymore, what other options are there that the EU Commission is exploring in order to ensure that the vaccinations can be beefed up to the degree that has been promised by companies? Could you give us an impression what other concrete measures we could be looking at? Maybe increasing of capacity of the production capacity. Thanks.
Thank you. No, I think the objective is to make sure that the companies deliver the doses that are required. And therefore, we are working with the companies. We're in dialogue with the companies in order to ensure that this takes place. We have put in place a strategy. We have put in place advanced purchasing agreements. We have a management structure that is in place in order to ensure that there is a dialogue between the member states who place the order forms and the companies. And we are now working based on all of this in order to ensure that, that the doses are delivered. Angelo.
Thank you. On this line, given that there is this production capacity problems and both Pfizer and AstraZeneca have problems like that, is it envisageable to produce the same vaccine in the plants of other companies? Is this something that can be explored in your view? Thank you.
Look, this is for the companies to deal with. We have a framework in place in order to ensure that what we get is of the requisite quality and safety and effectiveness for people across Europe. Then it is for the companies to organize themselves in order to be able to ensure the delivery. We have indeed heard of suggestions that go in this direction, but these are industrial decisions that the companies need to take. Francesco.
Hi, thanks. Just very quickly, if you can confirm that AstraZeneca, under the contract with the EU, has an obligation to had an obligation to start production for the EU already in October. Thanks.
Stéphane.
Thank you very much, but we do not comment on the production delivery plans with the different companies. As you know, we don't do that also with the other companies. This is considered as one of the elements which are covered by confidentiality clauses in the contract. So on this topic, I cannot say a lot at this stage. Thank you.
But what we can say, Francesco, is that the whole process that we have put in place is meant to ensure that we invest funding into these companies so that they ramp up production and can deliver the doses as soon as they get, if they do get it, obviously, the conditional marketing authorization. So the company is supposed to start producing before it actually gets the authorization, so as to be in a position to distribute as soon as it gets the authorization. And let me remind you that we signed the contract with AstraZeneca in August, and that member states started placing their orders, as far as I understand, already this autumn. David.
Oui, merci Eric. Je voulais juste savoir s'il y a une différence entre Pfizer et AstraZeneca, à votre avis, en termes de respect des conditions contractuelles.
Merci David. Je comprends le sens de ta question, mais nous n'allons pas commencer à comparer les entreprises les unes avec les autres. Elles ont chacune un contrat d'achat spécifique, avec des doses et des délais qui sont spécifiques. Notre objectif est de faire en sorte que chacune, en fonction de cet accord, des technologies qui sont utilisées, etc., nous fournissent les doses dont nous avons besoin en Europe le plus rapidement possible. Et nous sommes dans un dialogue franc, mais que nous espérons constructif, avec l'ensemble des entreprises. I will take one last question and then we will move to the press conference. James.
Thank you, Eric. The Commission has been quite assertive in carving out this coordination role during the health crisis. Does that also mean that the buck stops with Commission President Ursula von der Leyen? If things keep going wrong, no matter whose fault it is, someone ultimately has to take responsibility. Is she prepared to do that if things keep going wrong?
James, things have been going very well, actually, on many fronts. If you look at the vaccine strategy that the Commission has put in place. Let me remind you that if we had not put in place the strategy last year, we would certainly be in a situation where member states would have completely different access to vaccines to treat their citizens. Secondly, the Commission has worked very hard in order to ensure that we could have the most streamlined process possible when it comes to the procedures to authorize the vaccines, taking into account, of course, always the need to ensure that these are safe and effective. And thirdly, as you can see, we are very active in terms of ensuring that the companies work with us based on the advanced purchasing agreements that we have signed with them. So, quite frankly, at the moment, the question is really what can all of the actors who are working on this together do in order to ensure that the process is a success. Thank you very much. We will stop here and move immediately to the press conference with Commissioners Johansson and Reinders.